We've been micro broadcasting now for a couple years. Everybody knows what we do with the Speedway Motors Tulsa Shootout. We've been doing the live pay-per-view for a couple years down there, and it's been a great time. And, we've wanted to ramp up our micro coverage. And fortunately for us in this area, in the Kansas City area, we've got one of the great micro tracks in the country right down the road, not far from Kansas City. It's in Sweet Springs, Missouri. And we are formally announcing this morning on the show, as we talked about it a little bit last week on a broadcast down at Today as well as on Primetime Tuesday night. But the official announcement is today. Brett Bybee joins us now. Brett, we are so excited about the opportunity to come down and do the live broadcast of the Show-Me Showdown. You had nearly 200 cars there last year, and this is one of the big micro events of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Scott, and I appreciate you having me on to talk about this. We, like you said, we had 188 cars last year for the showdown, and it's a 3-day event that will be happening October 8th, 9th, and 10th. We will host 7 classes over the 3 days. On Thursday night, we will run 3 classes. They will do time trials, heat races, qualifiers, and after those 3 events are over with, the open class winged on Friday night and the open class non-wing on Thursday night, the top 3 point getters will run a unique race that we have, and it's called the 3-wide shootout for $1,000.
Oh, wow.
The first car to win 2 races, they will start 3 wide and run for 3 laps, and the first car to win 2 races wins $1,000 cash. Right there.
Yeah. Wow. That's what I like. Switching it up, doing some things a little bit different. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting to watch. That's on Friday night, right?
Actually, the non-wing open class. Their qualifying night is on Thursday night, so we will run 1 class on Thursday night for $1,000, and we will run 1 class on Friday night for $1,000, and then of course we'll follow that up on Saturday night with the open classes running for $2,000 to win, and the stock classes will be running for $1,500 to win. And, of course, we'll also have our restrictor and junior sprint and sportsman classes running on those nights as well.
When you say open, for the people that tune into our broadcast of the Speedway Motors Tulsa Shootout, that would be the outlaw winged and outlaw non-wing. Is that the same?
Yes, it is basically the same. We have a little bit different motor rule than they run down at the shootout, and but it is it would be the same, very much the same looking cars. Mm-hmm. The only difference between them is our motor rule, where our motors aren't quite as big as what they allow to run down there at the shootout.
Isn't it like down at the shootout they're like 639? Explain that to me real quick if you could.
The power ride that runs out in Illinois and Indiana and then down at the shootout, they run 2 mil motors, which is a max bore and stroke of 640 cc's.
40, okay.
We run a stock bore and stroke, which keeps the motors at 600 cc's.
I see.
But it seems that the level of competition is second to none there. And they always put on a great show, and that open class has been our biggest class all year long this year.
Yeah. Brett Bybee joining us from Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex, and the big event is the Show-Me Showdown, October 8th through the 10th. You can hear it live and see the main events on RacinBoys. Just kind of talk about how Sweet Springs became such a major force in micro sprint racing, a little bit about the history of Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex and how it got to be such a big force in micro sprint racing.
Back in 1981, Kirk, a small group of people from the Sweet Springs area got together and formed the Mid-Missouri Micro Midget Racing Association. And at the time, there was a large national organization called the NMMA, and we joined it, and it just continued to grow. There was a strong showing of cars from Kansas City, Sedalia, Warrensburg area. At one point in time, we had 3 tracks here in the Warrensburg, Sedalia, Sweet Springs area that were running every weekend. And we have just continued. We've stayed the course. It hasn't been easy over the years, but we've definitely stayed the course. And, one of the things that Sweet Springs has always been good about is if you show up to race, and you start a feature, you're going to get a paycheck, regardless if you win the A main or you struggle and finish in back of one of the lesser mains. You're going to get a paycheck, and that's why this club has been around for almost. Next year will be 35 years.
Wow.
This year is 20 years at the current racetrack.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Am I right? It's $40,000 purse for the Show-Me Showdown?
Yes, it is. We had originally, years past, it had been about $35,000, and we agreed to raise the purse this year to $40,000. And we really want to make this a marquee event for everybody to mark on their calendar to come out and see. And when we can partner with a great group of guys like you all there at RacinBoys and get this out to those that may not know anything about it, and it's just going to be a great time for the racers and for the fans, and we just want to make it fun for everybody and come on out and enjoy a great weekend of racing.
And this is not just kids competing out there. This is ages from young to old that compete out there every week, right?
Yes, that is correct. Our junior sprint class, we start out at 6 years old.
That's crazy.
And we've got a couple of young ones out there, and then we've probably got a few that are in their 50s and 60s that are running out there on a weekly basis. So there's definitely a wide group of wide span of ages there that's competing on a weekly basis.
I always talk about micro racing, and we're in a serious state, really, to be honest with you, in motorsports when it comes to getting young people involved in our sport, right, Kirk? We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And this is the ultimate family sport when it comes to getting young drivers and family members involved in our industry and setting them up for the next level. To make that move to whatever they want, if they want to drive a modified or if they want to drive a late model or a sprint car, whatever that may be, this is a great way to do it through micro racing. And what I love about your club and what goes on down at Sweet Springs is that the people that show up down there, it's mom, dad, sister, brother, and they're all working together as one to be successful with these cars. But then you look up in the grandstands and you see young people in the grandstands, and I think this is our biggest challenge in our industry, is getting young people involved in watching racing. So micro racing is not only a great place for a young person to get involved, but you see a lot of young people in the grandstands as well.
Yes, you're right. It is very much a family-oriented sport. They come in and start out at a small local dirt track and move on. I believe you had me mistaken as Chase Austin coming in, and correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe Chase used to race a micro at Sweet Spring.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll ask him that, but I believe you may be right on that one.
But you look at the stars that are coming up today. Christopher Bell. Christopher used to race locally. Jonathan Cornell used to race up there. You've got some guys that have started their racing careers and stuff in the micros and went on. But for the price and for the family to be able to get involved,
Absolutely.
and it's a great family atmosphere. For a weekly show, adults can get in for $7. Kids 6 to 12 are $5, and kids under 5 and under are free. Bring a cooler, bring your own drinks with you, whatnot, and come out and and set up your lawn chairs, or if you want to sit in the bleachers, you can, and watch some great racing and have some fun and come down to the pits afterwards and meet the kids, and these drivers just love to have the kids come down and meet them and talk to them and get to look over the cars, and I mean, it's just an awesome family atmosphere.
Yeah, and you know what else I think young people get out of this, even if they don't go on and race at another level, they learn work etiquette. You know what I mean? Knowing that, the preparation that goes into getting a car ready for the race that week at home, working hard to have good grades so mom and dad will let them race the cars. There's a lot of positive things off the track that happen due to the fact that these young kids are wanting to race at that level. I mean, if I had a young Tite and he was in school and I had one of these cars, hey, your grade's got to be good if you want to drive this week. And that gives the kids incentive to excel in life in order to have fun behind the wheel of a race car on the weekend.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. I mean, it's an addiction, and once it seems like once you're bit, that you get into the whole deal, and the family, like we was talking about with the family atmosphere and the great crowd that is, there with their cars, and you get in with them, and you watch your peers work, and I think them young kids, they thrive off of watching the kids their age that are excelling and, working hard on a weekly basis, and they see that, and then they want to work that much harder. So it doesn't just become a competition on the racetrack. It comes kind of a competition to be better in life and everything across the board. And they just get to be great friends, and it just continues to grow from there.
Yeah.
Your facility, Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex, become a fabric of the Sweet Springs community. It's not a large town. Just kind of talk about how the community has embraced the club and the racetrack, and how much of an impact it has nationally. It's well known all over the country.
The Sweet Springs community is only a town of about 1,500 people, and but whenever we have had a large race back when the NMMA was still around, they would do everything possible to accommodate that racetrack. The original racetrack was down at the park, so that took a huge understanding of not just the city government, but also the people that were living down in the park area to allow this racetrack to come in, and we would run till wee hours of the morning some weekends, and but they fully supported that track being there because they knew it was bringing people to town, and they were getting to see the historical part of Sweet Springs, and so they've really been second to none about supporting this racetrack and really understanding that it is vital to the livelihood of Sweet Springs.
You say the park was on the other side of the highway too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was about 2.5 miles south of the current racetrack, south of I-70 down there. Unfortunately, it was built in a floodplain, and we used to get flooded out on a regular basis. So when the opportunity arose for us to move the racetrack out to the north side of the highway, it definitely made things a lot better.
I came across, I went down and did a internet check at Sedalia and saw our good friends down at McCarthy Toyota of Sedalia. And then on my way back, you had me cut across that 127 that brings me up through Sweet Springs. And I'm embarrassed to say this. How long ago was that track down there at in the park? How long ago was that?
We have been at the new track since 1995. They started building it in 1994. So, it's 21 years ago. I guess that's what it would be, was the last year that it actually raced.
Well, I hate to say this, but I still thought it was on that side of the highway when I come across 127. I'm going, where the heck did the track go? Did I miss it or something? Not did it dawn on me till I went over the highway that you guys had moved over there. And not only is it good for the community is supported at Sweet Springs, but I know just from my conversations with you and your conversations, well, like, let's use Casey's as an example. What it does for them economically, it has to help the city because their business really spikes up when you guys have races there.
Yes, I was talking with the both Break Time and Casey's this past week or so, and they said that it is unbelievable in the difference in their total sales on race day versus the nights that we get rained out or
That's great.
during the off season. And and I mean, that's just two businesses there in town. We've also got Dollar General and a couple of motels and the grocery store, which I haven't talked to them about that if they know the difference. But there is obviously a huge impact that the Racing Association has on those local businesses and helping them to continue to thrive. By having the racetrack there.
And speaking of local businesses, if your company would be interested in helping with the broadcast, because I know that there's some sponsors coming on board with Sweet Springs to represent the track during the broadcast. I know that you're reaching out to some people. How would they get a hold of you, Brett, to be involved with the broadcast, maybe get the commercial to run on RacinBoys during those 3 nights of broadcasting? How would you recommend them getting a hold of you to do so?
Well, the easiest way to find my contact information is on the Sweet Spring the website, which would be sweetspringsraceway.com. And I am the vice president, so if you click on the officials tab and found my name under the vice president, it has my email and my phone number to be able to give me a call and contact me about that. And we would love to have anybody that was willing to come on board and help us support this deal and make it bigger, and hopefully we could form a partnership that we could continue to grow and build for years to come.
For the people that are watching online, you can see that page, Todd's prize on top of it, pulling up the Sweet Springs website, and we're looking at that page where the information is. You can see Todd circling his little pointer around there. There's the number on the screen as well as the email address. Nice looking website, professionally run, it looks like. So doing a great job down there, Brett, and we again are so excited that you've chosen RacinBoys to be a part of the Show-Me Showdown. We cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know, Kirk, your experience down there has been great, and now we're going to let everybody across America and around the world know what kind of great action they have down at Sweet Springs.
Always great racing over there, and you can never, if you've never been there, you will not be disappointed with the close action that you have in all the racing over there. That's for sure. And you got racing over there tonight, right?
Yes, we do. Yep. We have a hot lap starting at 6:30, and racing starts at 7. We have our 6 weekly classes that will be there. On the average, we have been averaging right around 100 cars a night.
Great.
Every night this year, and through those 6 classes, and we do everything possible to keep the show moving as quickly as possible. And last week we had our 100-lap features, and we were out there at 11 o'clock.
How about Miles Paulus picking up his first win of the year last week, huh?
Yes, Miles drove one awesome race last week. He was patient and took his time and just kind of let the track and everything come to him. Jack Wagner out of Lone Jack was running a great steady race, and both of those, that's a couple of your young kids that you're talking about right there, 15, 16 years old, and those kids in that winged open class drove an awesome race and put on an excellent show for the fans. And but yes, Miles picked up stayed steady and picked up his first win in the open class Saturday night.
Brian Grimes, is that the same Brian we've seen race 360 sprint cars?
Sure is. Same Brian. He's driving the Rusty Wilder Motorsports car out of Marshall, and he's just as consistent as can be. Won the points championship last year in that car, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's leading the points again this year. So,
hey, before we let you go, you've been pretty close to Kyle Bellum, big sponsor on his race cars, been chasing the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour.
Heck, he went to Florida with him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Got to travel down to Florida with him, and was hoping to spend a little bit more time on the road with him this year. Unfortunately, Mother Nature and the mowing business hasn't cooperated with me being able to spend much time with Kyle. But
I felt so bad for him the other night. I was saying, when is he going to get a break? And he got caught up in a deal the other night where I think it was Ricky Lee Stangl turned sideways, and he had nowhere to go, and upside down he went. I'm thinking that was clearly, out of his control there. I don't know what more he could have done there, but I felt so bad for him. He's had a number of those kinds of instances this year.
Yeah, he has. It just, it's just been if he doesn't have bad luck, he doesn't have any luck at all. And I know he's tore up some equipment. Luckily most of it's been bolt-on parts and whatnot. But when I met Kyle 3 years ago, we were introduced by his wife, and which I've known Kara my whole life. But that is just one exceptional family, and Kyle just has a smile on his face and all the time, and is just happy to see everybody, and it just seemed like the right thing to do to come on board and support him, and I really wish Kyle could get somebody to a good big sponsor to step up and really help him out with this program, because they would not be disappointed. That family is second to none, and it doesn't matter what kind of night that he has. When those kids come around or a fan comes down and wants to visit, he just treats them like they're the only person standing there, and treats them like they're just number one in his book, and he truly loves his fans and whatnot. And one of these days that when that bad luck is gone, maybe he can have some luck like a couple of the other front runners have had this year, and it just, when it clicks, and he's going to go.
Yeah, I thought on the Thursday night opener up there at Dirt Cup, he was on his way to picking up a National Tour win, which would be his second National Tour win. But unfortunately, a car slowed down that had lost power, and it was dusty up there, and he just ran in there and hooked him with that right rear, and that took him out of contention for that race. He's got a podium place, fourth place finish, not a podium. He finished fourth. Where was that? Was that at Rapid City, maybe? He got a fourth place. It was at Rapid City. Yep. So we know that Kyle's got the talent, and he just needs a little more experience. But as you alluded to, he's upbeat. He's always positive, and I help him a little bit, not much. I just loan him some stuff, and by gosh, he tore up my wing there down at Sedalia. That was the wing off of my sprint car.
Wing?
That was my wing on that sprint car, and
I
was hoping that he was done tearing up wings, but by God, he got that one.
It wasn't his fault.
I know.
Was it just your top wing, Scott, or was that your nose wing as well?
I don't want to know if that was my nose wing.
Well, I mean, if it was your nose wing, if it makes you feel any better, it's in my shop now.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle, if you're
didn't
listening,
go very far.
I think they can fix that top wing just putting a sideboard on it. I want the sideboard off.
Somebody ran off with a wing that had your name on it from Kyle's car out in Washington. They gave you a call, right? You got a call from that said, we saw your lawn service company on this wing we walked off the track with.
Right. That was a good story.
That was a very interesting deal. They, of course, being around Whiteman Air Force Base, it's nothing unusual for me to get calls with my lawn service from customers that have out-of-state phone numbers. So my phone rings and it comes up Washington State. And so I answer it, and the guy gets to explaining to me that he went out to Grays Harbor after I don't remember, was that at Grays?
When he crashed leading the race?
Yeah.
That was at Skagit.
Okay, so it was at Skagit. He went out to Skagit the after the races there, and was wandering around, and there were some wing parts laying around, and the track worker told him, said, "Hey, you can have this stuff if you want it." And So he starts digging through it and sees my name on the nose wing, and so he calls me wanting some more background information on, who the wing belonged to and what happened and whatnot. And come to find out, his sister was a school teacher there in Washington, and they were going to hang it up in her classroom with the rest of her racing memorabilia.
Awesome.
So I called Kyle, and we talked about it a little bit, and he's like, we got the address for the school out there, and I believe Kyle signed a bunch of hero cards and sent it out there to her classroom and to give to all the kids in her class. And so they had a little story to go with the background of that nose wing, and so it's hanging in an elementary school out in Washington State right now.
How cool is that? Another way maybe to get a young kid that's maybe not involved in the sport to, hey, that looks cool. Let me get mom and dad take me out to the racetrack.
You might have to travel out and do some lawn care out in Washington there.
No.
Well, I think it's drier out there than it is here in Missouri right now.
That was
I'm not sure there'd be much to mow out there.
That was Kirk and I's biggest concern when we go out there, and I spend 6 weeks out there.
It was supposed to rain all the time out there.
Please don't rain out. Yeah. Please no, because you're up in the Northwest.
You got them all in.
You got them all in. It was good for us
when it rained here all the time.
Yeah, that it did. And you guys are keeping all the rain in Kansas City. Can you at least let that stretch out to Warrensburg? I'd appreciate it.
So you're not as many inches of rain out in Warrensburg as in Kansas City.
All that rain that you've had the last couple of days has never made it out here.
That is crazy.
Isn't that something?
Wow. Well, listen, Brett, again, we are so excited about the Show Me Showdown on RacinBoys. We're thankful. We know that you've been the ramrod behind it. And, again, if people want to get involved with the broadcast, they can go to the Sweet Springs website, find your contact information on there, click on officials, and you'll find Brett Bybee's phone number, email address. Reach out to him, be a part of the broadcast, and we'll make sure that RacinBoys takes good care of anybody that gets tied in with your sponsorship of that. Man, we can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much, Brett.
Okay, thank you, Scott, and you all have a great day.
All right,
too.
Thanks again. Brett Bybee from Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex. So it's going to be a lot of fun, Kurt.
And again, they're racing tonight.
Yeah.
Out at Sweet Springs, so check it all out.